All right, guys. Fiber. What are net carbs? What is fiber? Is fiber really free? Today, we are going to talk about. I'm Dr. Adam Martin at the Fit Pharmacist. Joining me today is my colleague and friend, Kevin Brunacini, who is at the Diet Doc Independence. Kevin, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Adam. Happy to.
So why are we doing this? Why are we talking about fiber? So March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. And as being nutrition consultants, this is one of the most common questions that we get from our clients, from people that we work with, and our colleagues. You know, what is fiber? There's all this misconceptions about being free carbohydrates or what the role is. So we're going to talk about that and also touch on how that plays into colon cancer prevention. So being March Colon Cancer Awareness Month, I just want to go over a couple statistics with this condition. So excluding skin cancer, colorectal cancer is the third most common cancer diagnosed in both men and women in the United States. They have projections for this year, 2018, that call for more than 140,000 new cases of colorectal cancer, which will lead to an expectation of over 50,000 deaths from this disease. The reason I tell you this is all of these deaths are preventable because with screening and all of the things that are available, if we catch this early, we are able to prevent those deaths, those complications. And speaking from a personal standpoint, this is actually what took my mother. She died from colon cancer. That's the whole reason that I got into pharmacy, the whole reason that I do what I do. So just a personal note, that's why this is such an important topic for me to share with you, because I've gone through what that feels like with that pain. So I want to help prevent any unnecessary issues from you or your loved ones. So when it comes to screening for colon cancer, there are some new advancements with that available. I would recommend talking to your pharmacist, physician, or other healthcare provider about those specifics. But in general, guidelines for screening for colon cancer are for men and women to start at 50 years age or older. So if you're 50 years old and you have not had a colonoscopy yet, definitely give your doctor a call. I know it might not be the most pleasant experience, but it's a lot better to catch it early. So if you catch this disease early, it'll save a lot of pain and complications down the road. So that aside, I just want to make sure I touched on that. Make sure, as they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So absolutely have that taken care of with your life. It's worth the time. It's worth the day of prep. Just please do that for yourself, for your loved ones. So let's get started with fiber. As I said, I'm Dr. Adam Martin with the Fit Pharmacist. Joining me is my friend and colleague, Kevin Brunacini, soon to be Dr. Kevin Brunacini, finishing up his doctorate in nursing. Thank you so much for being with us today, Kevin.
Thank you, Adam.
So with this whole topic of fiber, like I said, there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of questions, a lot of misinformation out there. So let's just start with the basics. And Kevin, being the expert on this, finishing up your doctorate, I wanted to ask you if you could just simplify what is fiber. When someone says fiber or they have a question, what is fiber?
Quite simply, fiber is the non-starch, indigestible portion of foods. Mainly comes from complex carbohydrates, and that's basically your plant foods that we consume in a day. It can further be categorized into two types, but I'll save that for later.
Ooh, perfect. So it's just the roughage.
I have a lot of crap to dig through. Sorry,
oh,
I had to do it.
Lots of crap to dig through. We won't overdo it. How about that?
We're out of here. We're gone, everyone.
We'll be here all week. So now we've defined what fiber is. What is the role of fiber? So why would someone want to make sure that they're getting enough fiber in their diet? What purpose does it serve?
The most common necessity for fiber is my opinion, GI regularity. It helps us, it provides bulk, provides, if you want to say, lubrication to a degree, but it makes us help go poop. And what better way to start your morning with a good BM, I suppose.
Oh crap.
um, um, so what, it's in terms of that basic, that simple. In terms of fiber's role, obviously there are different ways, methods of how fiber promotes regularity, but that's its main role. In addition to it can be preventative in terms of colorectal issues or from colorectal cancer from occurring.
Got you. So you brought up an excellent point in the last question, where when we're talking about fiber, there's two main types. There's the soluble and there's the insoluble. And there's a lot of confusion out there with people, like, what's the difference? What's the purpose for each? So can you just touch on what soluble fiber is?
Soluble is, as the name kind of implies, it's the fiber, the dietary fiber that you ingest from certain foods is going to dissolve in water and form into a gel. And this is what promotes that satiety feeling, because it's delaying gastric emptying. It's by forming that barrier, that gel-like substance in the stomach, it allows the stomach to slow down. It's no different than just drinking water would do. It's providing that volume, so to speak, without adding a lot of volume per se.
Got you. So can you give some examples of what soluble fiber would be?
Most common sources, and there is some crossover of different types of fiber between those two classes, but most commonly are barley, oats, which is my favorite, rye,
High five.
fruits. That's most commonly are your apple and citruses, legumes. Most particularly of legumes are soybeans in particular, seeds, and as far as the veggies go, it's going to be your broccoli, carrots, more cruciferous vegetables with more more dark green types are going to typically be more soluble in nature.
Okay, so that's soluble fiber. What about insoluble fiber? How does that differ? And then what are some examples of those?
The difference between a soluble, as again, as the name applies, and just the inverse of soluble is it's not insoluble is not dissolvable in water. And what this is going to do, as opposed to providing satiety, fullness feeling, it's going to promote regularity in this sense by adding bulk to stool, to mass. And how it does that? It can also do that by softening the food through bringing in water into your poop. I didn't mention in previous, but the soluble is more fermentable. It's more easily digested. As a result, this can promote more gas and bloats, which we'll certainly discuss, I'm sure, next. But that's another distinguishing feature, I suppose you can say, between the two. Is soluble is more fermentable, therefore it can promote more gas in excess, versus insoluble, which is the opposite. It's less fermentable, therefore it's going to be less harsh in the GI tract.
Excellent. And then putting my pharmacist hat on real quick, a lot of times I have patients come in the pharmacy saying they need fiber supplements and they ask for certain things. So for most time, that's going to be the insoluble fiber, just kind of the push movement of fiber. And like you said, it is a harsher variety. So when people come in, they might ask for Metamucil. That's psyllium, which actually is the most harsh. That's going to create the most gas and side effects of those supplements. It is effective, but just know that that can cause some of those unwanted side effects. Another alternative that's less harsh would be the methyl cellulose, or the Citrusel, which is sugar-free, and it comes in unflavored powder, so you can add that and mix that in water. And it's a little, like I said, less harsh, so it's more tolerable. You're going to have less side effects with that. There's a lot of other options available. That's why you should speak to your friendly pharmacist for the best recommendation, or nurse. No hate, we gotta show the love.
Healthcare provider.
Can't cut that crap.
Healthcare professional.
So yeah, so we just want to talk about, what fiber is. But one of the biggest misconceptions, and a lot of the food companies actually use this in marketing their products, is net carbs, or that fiber is free. So you might see, like on the nutrition label, it says carbohydrates 20 grams, fiber 18 grams, net carbs 2 grams. So they market like, oh, there's only 2 grams of carbs in this product. So it seems alluring, and low carb and all these things, but is that really the case? That's what we're going to touch on. So Kevin, do you want to talk about what exactly net carbs mean and where that whole concept came from?
Absolutely. And this is, like you've said, it's a big misconception. It's quite misleading, frankly, to the general public who just don't know. They see fiber as a good thing, uh, uh, and just that glamorizing of fewer carbs for something like a protein bar or some carb item, nevertheless, just with a lot of dietary fiber, can be just very misleading in terms of either a lot of unaccounted carbs and or calories that's just not aware of, and therefore it makes a progress or a pursuit goal of weight loss or weight goal regardless is going to be much more difficult because of that missing data, when the intention is likely pretty pure. But net carbs are essentially it's a method, suppose you could say, it's calculated from a food source by subtracting the dietary fiber and sugar alcohols from the total carbs. And you commonly see this in my experience, is protein bars, or frankly any low carb item for that matter. But protein bars are going to have that big exclamation point of only 2 grams of carbs. It's phenomenal. You'll see that there's, say, 22 grams total of carbs, and there's 17 grams of fiber, sugar alcohols, and they combine those and subtract it, and that's where they get these net carbs. And that's where the misconception is, because unfortunately we're not to the point of being so superior for our nutrition, is that nothing in food is free. Everything has a cost, whether it's negligible or not. There's still a cost that it takes to digest something. Even the whole idea of eating asparagus and that it's a negative food, you're still eating something with calories, even though it's marginal. But the principle of the matter is nothing is free. So, and this was developed by, lo and behold, Dr. Atkins, who is the father of low carb. Can I say BS? Is that okay?
We're talking about fiber and poop, so you can say, crap, BS, whatever.
Well, for the nature of this, I guess I can, as a pun, I'll use it as such. But to each their own with their nutrition. But it's developed by Dr. Atkins, as I'm sure was a very marketable approach, and it kind of frankly is, because it's not evaluated. The claims of net carbs are not evaluated by the FDA standards, so it is nothing but a marketing ploy by companies that are producing such product. So it works very well. But the misconception is, or the whole point is, there's still dietary fiber, even though it's low in calories per gram, there's still calories per gram. So we're talking, 2 calories on average, give or take. It's not that significant. But point of the matter is that's still calories and carbohydrates unaccounted for in your grand scheme of things. So if you're having 20 grams of carbs, maybe not that big of a deal. But if you're having protein bar every day of the week, or some other item like pasta, and it's just a number out of the air, 40 grams unaccounted for, that's a big deal.
Yes,
that's a big deal.
And I'm glad that you brought up protein bars, because a lot of times the whole term of sugar alcohol is a totally new concept. People read nutrition labels and they see carbs, protein, fat, sodium, net fat, things like that. But then they get a protein bar, and all of a sudden there's this brand new category called sugar alcohol. And people start thinking, like, does this mean martini, sugar, alcohol? I don't understand. Am I going to get drunk off of this? Like, whoa. So I'm glad you brought that up about there being that net calories from that with sugar alcohols. And that, I think, is a very big point of confusion and misunderstanding. And I know you touched on it briefly, but if you want to talk a little more about what sugar alcohols are and the calories that they bring, I think that'll help demystify this magical category that pops up on protein bars.
The sugar alcohols are going to be, you're going to see this on the back of a food item. They typically end in tols, so erythritol, xylitol, mannitol, sorbitol. I think those, I'm sure there's, I think there's one more. Those are the
big ones.
Yeah, those are the most common ones. And their promise is they don't raise blood sugar compared to sugar. Artificial sweeteners it's a touchy subject, but they don't raise it. And I won't say that it's completely perfect in terms of not raising it. There may be a very, very marginal, if so, but in the grand scheme of things, it's irrelevant. It's not a big deal. It's not going to cause noticeable issues at all for someone who's with diabetes or not. But nevertheless, there's still marginal calories per gram of consumption of these, and if overdone, I'm drawing a blank on the average gram intake of sugar alcohols. I want to say it's 30 grams, I believe, but don't quote me on that. But there is a threshold of sugar alcohols that we can intake, and lo and behold, since we're talking about GI, if we eat too much of sugar alcohols, it's going to cause us to poop it out urgently, and that's just no fun for anyone. So that is something to be mindful of. Just because it's fewer carbs, healthy, blah blah blah, it doesn't mean that it's perfectly healthy or okay to eat in excess.
Yes, and I think that's a huge clinical aspect too, coming from the healthcare professional side. Putting my white coat back on is, when I have patients come in and they're asking for sugar-free products, when you see the term sugar-free, almost always on the label, you're going to see xylitol, erythritol, anything like that. And those are the sugar alcohols that Kevin's talking about. Now, the thing I always warn people is, in moderation, that's totally fine. But what can sometimes happen is we get in that mindset of, oh, it's, free or sugar-free, so I can have as much as I want without repercussion. Well, like Kevin said, there is a threshold where if you eat all this sugar-free candy, that sugar alcohol will cause diarrhea, and that is the most common issue with that. And you'll, pardon my French, be shit out of luck. I got to jab it all the way through. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. And Kevin, I think that's a phenomenal explanation for what sugar alcohols are, because that's one of the methods that the food industry uses to market is, net carbs, and through that sugar alcohol. So sugar-free, net carbs, things that can be misleading, where you think you're getting things free or at a discount. But like Kevin says, everything has a price. So we just want to do this as an awareness piece to let you know that that's out there for that. So that's really it we have for what the net carbs and the sugar alcohols. Kevin, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on in regards to fiber or anything else that we've touched on in this poopy place?
Not particularly. Sugar alcohols are a helpful tool within context.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with the carbs, but it's as an alternative sweetener to reduce carbs to a degree, or take place of carbs for regular sugar. It is a very helpful tool in that regard. But to which you have to know how much is too much if you are sensitive or notice sensitivity to such items, and either rotate it, get rid of it, eat not as much. You have to be aware of your food and how it's affecting you, and if it's worth it, because there are better options. And I would say to eat the more whole food item is going to be your best bet in most cases, depending on everything. But if you can certainly afford the higher carbs for more whole food typical items, then that's going to be your best bet.
Absolutely. So as a recap, guys, March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. It is one of the most common forms of cancer, third leading cause of cancer diagnosis once skin cancer is taken out of the equation. But the good news is it's the most preventable. So screening is really important. Having fiber in your diet for that roughage, that constant motility is really important. Also, fiber, it has a role in helping our health. Fullness, keeping blood sugar stable, depending on whether it's one of the two types that Kevin went into, soluble versus insoluble. We talked about what net carbs are, and that whole thing being basically a marketing ploy. So it's not free where there's only, X carbs. You have to look at the whole picture, the total carbohydrates, because whether there's fiber or sugar alcohols, which we talked about, that can impact your sugar level. That does have some calorie content, so it's not totally free when you see those terms sugar-free on food packaging. So I hope this was helpful. One thing I did want to express is that Dr. Kevin is I'm just going to call you doctor because it's a done deal. You're graduate A+, man. You got this. But what's that?
We're down to less than 6 months. I'm already wearing the gown at night.
Oh yeah, he wakes up, he's ready to flash out. But Kevin is a colleague and friend of mine who is just a phenomenal individual and really passionate about helping his clients with nutrition, with lifestyle changes for permanent weight loss. Kevin actually went through a huge transformation a few years back. And how much weight did you lose, Kevin?
More weight than what my wife weighs, 121 pounds.
And how many years have you been able to keep that off?
It'll be 7 years this July.
7 years. That's amazing. He's kept that off through flexible dieting techniques, looking at not only nutrition, but the mindset that goes into those habits required to make lasting change. Because in the United States, we're very good at losing weight, but keeping it off is the whole problem. In over 98% of diets or attempts at losing weight fail because people lose weight, then they regain it within 2 years. That's the unfortunate truth. But if you have a coach who's as committed, knowledgeable, and has walked through that like Kevin, you really set yourself up for success. Kevin runs his business, the Diet Doc Independence. Most of his clients are online. So if you don't live in Kentucky, that's not an issue. He can help you online. He can help you through phone. He goes above and beyond for his clients who have had so much success because he really invests in the relationship with those he serves. So I just can't rave enough about Kevin. So Kevin, if people want to reach you, if they want to learn more about the services you offer with weight loss or healthy lifestyles, where can they go to find more information about you?
I'd say email would be most direct. So Kevin, Kevin, at thedietdoc.com. Otherwise, for just more information regarding me and everything else, my website is thedietdoc-independence.com, and you can always get a hold of me as well from that avenue. But any questions, it's at least that's what medicine is to answer and teach. So let me have it. I'd love to help.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much, Dr. Kevin. Thank you for helping us understand more about fiber and preventing colon cancer, for March being Colon Cancer Awareness Prevention Month. Guys, thank you for tuning in on Saturday, successful Saturday. We hope it's now super successful now that you know all the do-do on the fiber. Have a great weekend and week ahead, guys. This is Dr. Adam Martin with The Fit Pharmacist, signing off with Dr. Kevin Brunacini of the Diet Doc Independence. Be great and live with passion. See you guys.